growing up, I never really saw faces of colour on screen. Even though I am a director, it was influential to me to see actors within mainstream Hollywood, because directors are always behind the scenes and you never really see them. But when you do see actors, it's quite influential to know that some black people out there were getting roles which were in the cinemas and were on television.
Family is a word that springs to mind when I think of Ossie Davis, because if you read some of the letters that he wrote and obviously the way that he spoke about some of the individuals that he came into contact with during the civil rights era and stuff like that, you know, you get a sense of family. You get a sense that they were all soldiers in the same struggle, camaraderie, you know. So yeah, family, definitely family was Ossie Davis.
His most memorable role was in Jungle Fever, really, as the good old Reverend. I like that film a lot, and I remember the scene in which he sits down with his son, Wesley Snipes, who played Flipper in the film, and his new Italian-American girlfriend, and he talks to Wesley Snipes about the ways in which, back in the slave days, Caucasian women lusted over black slaves. Really, that scene caused quite a controversy amongst especially the Italian-American community. Ossie Davis was a great actor, and I think the most important thing that he did was set a standard and set a sort of legacy for other actors to follow.
Desmond Dekker. Wow. I don't know what I'm going to say about Desmond. What I know is that Desmond Dekker's songs, Desmond was one of these guys like James Brown. It's like, I don't know what the hell Desmond is saying on the record, but he's saying it in a way that I want to say it. I mean, I have my own lyrics for Israelites. I'm sure a lot of people did. It was like, wake up in the morning, saving for breakfast, or whatever that is. I think he meant breakfast. But it didn't matter. He just sung it in a way that you just wanted to, like a little like Luther, you wanted to jump in and add your bit. But you know, he had the rhythm and he had a whole bunch of lyrics that we didn't know what it was and we didn't care, because it sounded great the way he was singing it.
For the likes of people like my mum and dad, you know, uncles, you know, that's how they got through. You know, they came, they're away from home, they're homesick, and to hear something, you know, that sounds similar to what they had at home was very, very important. So I think for my mum's age group, you know, it's going to be more resonant for them, the Desmond Dekker time, the music that they heard. You know, we hear his music today, you know, on adverts, you know, and remarkable, remarkable.
And it's a little bit like, he had this little gangster thing about him as well, where he got the high voice. Like if you listen to Beenie Man and them guys, they got that same sort of high voice where they go in this high-pitched tone. But the high-pitched tone is not really characteristic of their voice, but it's something that, like an alter ego that they can do. That's Desmond Dekker. I think he might be the first on that.
Gordon Parks, a visual storyteller, innovator, you gotta say inspiring, and legend, yeah.
Right, pioneer, brave, focused, intelligent director.
It's like, for me, I didn't see Gordon Parks as a youth. I saw Spike Lee, and when I saw Spike Lee's films like Do the Right Thing, they helped to bring me and say, okay, yeah, great. So Badass, Peebles and stuff would have saw Gordon Parks doing this thing, and would have think, you know what, I can get into this game, can't I? You know what I'm saying? He's doing it. If he's doing it, then I can get into it. And then you notice in terms of how people like are great within their field, because they don't just do that one thing. As an artist, they can also perform, or they might be able to be visual, so they know a bit about still photography as well, and take the whole creative process forward into just not one dimension but other dimensions. And that's when you know that that's a true artist, because you couldn't just put them in that one category. And from Gordon Parks, you can see the spring-offs from the other stuff he's done, and where other people have gone through and come through.
I would hope that when I'm old and grey, I can look back and I can say that I made a difference to my life, my family's life, my friends' lives, and for people I don't even know. I would like to say that what I do can help inspire others, influence others, and help other people achieve their goals. If my life should be used as an example for others to follow, then so be it.
Lyndon David Hall, I would say, definitely was a gift. I mean, Lyndon David Hall was a guy who went to, he's one of the first lot to go to the Brits Performing Arts Technology School, which I also went as well. And even as I came in, he was coming out, and they used to call him like the kind of Black Elvis. He used to walk around with his guitar.
One thing I always remember with Lyndon, he was of high calibre, especially in my estimates. He was of high calibre singer, writer, musician, producer. And one thing that always sticks in my mind with Lyndon was his work within the community. I always remember my mum has this social club, in Balham. It's probably a place that we'd never ever go to. And she came back one day, talking about Lyndon David Hall. I saw this guy, Lyndon, I think his name was, and he came in with his guitar and he sung for us, and that really stuck in my mind, and it also inspired me to go out and do stuff within the community as well. To think, Lyndon, he's working with the big boys, he's got product, he's out there, he can get the big gigs, but still had time for the older generation, for his community. So that's definitely one of the things that stuck in my mind with Lyndon. And to hear people like my mum coming back and talking about him was really inspiring. So, it was deep. It was deep when he passed. I felt it was going to be a huge loss to the music industry.
To be honest with you, I think most people might have thought that he would have just beat that off with a stick, because he's a young dude, strong, And after a while, it started to sort of look like he was having to take time off from the music business to deal with his, his sickness. Take time off of doing what he does most, just to deal with getting your strength back. And that's, I think, when the business started to take the whole thing serious. Like Kylie has just gone through recent bouts of chemo, and I know the way how she's bouncing back, it's encourageable like that. That's how I think everyone thought that was going to happen with Lyndon. I know Lyndon, when I first met Lyndon, I think his name was different as well. I think it wasn't Lyndon David Hall, I think it was David Lyndon Hall, or what was it? I think it was David Hall at first, or something like that. And then the Lyndon was in there, but I think they swapped it the other way around. And I think I used to get on his nerves a little bit, because I used to always call him like David, when his name was really Lyndon David. But other than that, I just thought the guy was so cool.
Personally, I feel like we've got more than just the debt of gratitude. We've also got now the burden of responsibility to carry on with, they passed the torch. So even though we live in very different times, the same sorts of things that they were facing, they're still there, they just adapted and more sophisticated. So we need to kind of take what they passed on to us, that spirit of not giving up and not being afraid to do the right thing, regardless of personal cost, regardless of, what it might mean for you financially or for your career, and actually focus more on integrity and doing the right thing. I think that's the greatest gift that they gave us, on what we need to kind of carry on with. It's not a difficult thing to do. We all know what the right thing to do is. It's just, what are we prepared to put on the line to do it.